I've talked to guys on my show. I've talked to guys and other hosts on my show as well about these types of things. And, most of them are pretty shallow, and they look for these things that are so completely not long-term important, because ultimately, as I've said before, if, appearances fade, beauty fades, and beauty is not forever. That's the one thing about beauty. Beauty. If you're beautiful and you have beauty, which is something you didn't, earn, something that you just happen to be born with, then, the beauty of beauty is that it can get you so many great things and ahead in life, in youth. But the downside to beauty, which everything has, is that it fades and does not last, no matter who you are. So, you're just left with what's left in that person's personality. And if they have a horrible personality, but they were really hot when they were younger, you're going to be left with a really horrible person that's old and unattractive instead. So you might as well find somebody who is going to be right for you on the inside first, and then look at the outside. And a lot of times, some people, that you don't give a second look to at first become beautiful in your eyes after you get to know who they are inside. And it sounds cheesy, but it's very true. It's happened to me a million times. People I didn't want to give a second look to, and then eventually, after I got to know them, I fell in love with who they were on the inside, and they were more attractive to me, and I grew attracted to them. And the opposite is true as well. I've in the past dated just really, drop dead gorgeous men who were just incredibly beautiful, and they had the worst personalities ever, and they became so unattractive to me after I got to know them. And they didn't seem so hot to me anymore physically either after I got to know who they were inside, when I knew that they were horrible people. And of course, not all of them were that way on either side. Not all the hot guys were horrible people inside. Not all the average-looking guys were great, kind people either. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, that's been my experience. I think most people forget to kind of, look at the things that matter in people and not look the surface. Of course, it's difficult because we're human. And what do we see when we see someone for the first time we meet them? We see what they look like physically. So obviously, that's why a lot of the time we're attracted to people based on physical appearance first, and then we get to know them, and hopefully it matches with their exterior. But that's why I think the internet has sort of changed the game to some degree, because you had to, if you've ever dated online, you have to get to know the person inside, especially in the old days, like in the 90s. when I was online or whatever, I'd say like in the mid to late 90s and stuff, and I was doing online dating or something before everybody had camera phones, or before anybody had camera phones really, and before you could really exchange them through your emails easily, or you could post pictures of yourself. It just wasn't as prolific as it is now. But it was difficult. So then in those days, there was a lot of blind dating, at least for me. And I was meeting guys online and stuff, and we would meet in person, and then we may or may not be attracted to each other. We may think we are based on the description. But when you see each other in person, it's different. So my point is that you had in those days, you kind of had to look at people's personality and get to know them, and then decide who they are, if you like them or whatever, and then see if you can be attracted to them physically, which is the opposite of the way it kind of is naturally for us to be. So anyway, but things have changed again and flipped again to the way they are now. And I think that it's a good thing in some ways, because you get to know what you're getting yourself into, and you can say, oh, well, go down a list of people if you're dating or something, and you can say, I'm not attracted to that person, but I like that person, but I don't like this person. But you're kind of not looking at all of the opportunities that you have there. You're kind of overlooking. You're kind of missing opportunities that you could possibly have in meeting someone really great in that case. So my advice to you, if you really want it, if you give a shit, is to look for someone that is going to fulfill you for the rest of your life, in ways that are not just physical. You should also be physically attracted to them. You should also have sexual attraction, of course. You should also have sex and all those good things. But you also need something that's far more, spiritual, or more profound and more interesting and more difficult to come by, and that's someone's soul. So look for that, and you'll be happy if you find it. Hang on to it and don't throw it away, because finding it again is really, really unlikely. So that's my advice. That's all I have today for Gay Mass. Hopefully I'll be back again or sooner with a Brain Purge or something. I'm sorry I haven't had so much time to do shows lately. That's why I've only been doing like one a week or so, and doing all Gay Mass shows. But I have had such a crazy past few weeks with my business and clients, and also just not feeling well this week and other things. So anyway, I'll be back later in the week. If you want to email me, you can email me at info@offlimitsshow.com. You can also message me on Facebook or Twitter. Oh, by the way, one more thing before I go. I've been getting messages from certain people that are mentioning people I don't like and don't give a shit about. And so if you are someone who is messaging me about people that you know I don't like, then stop doing it, please, because I'm not going to respond to you because I don't trust you. Okay? Good night.